I have always found the engagement programs to be first and foremost one of the most important things. If you're having regular touch points with your leads, that's what you need to pay attention to. You want to make sure that they're all not standardized. You don't want to make them boring, but you want to make sure that when that email arrives in their inbox, your lead knows what it is. They might not open the first one. They might not open the second one. They might not even open the third one. But maybe by the fourth one that comes around, they're like, hey, I'm always getting these emails. Let me see what these are all about. I tend to go with first touch attribution every time. Like I said, we're at the beginning of the cycle. So by using first touch, I mean, for example, if somebody came from a certain advertisement, we want to give credit to that advertisement, right? Because they're the ones that got in the door. The subject line, I think, is obviously going to be the most important thing. And the way I look at it is you want to make it personalized. If you can put their name in the subject line, that always helps. And then offer a value add in that subject line. Hey, Bob, do you know what your widget is worth? Hey, Jane, have you been looking at purchasing X, Y, and Z product? I think just the fact that with the Revenue Cycle Explorer, you are restricted in terms of the data that you are able to manipulate. You have to choose the type of report that you're looking at first, whether it's an email report, a lead report, a program performance report, etc. By choosing that, the type of report will restrict you to the number of values that you can search by and you can manipulate. I like the real-time reporting of the Marketo dashboards. So I will definitely try to use the Marketo dashboards using the real-time reporting. That said, what I will tend to do, because there often can be issues with login credentials, some reports you need to be able to log in, some you don't. So I will actually create a separate website or landing page, whatever it might be, and place the reports on that so that anybody can access the data at any time on an external website rather than on the internal Marketo dashboard. The main thing that I found with data that really helps the data is the segmentations. The segmentations are some of the most powerful things in Marketo that you can use. And the reason being is that segmentations break down your entire database. If you create a smart list with certain fields and certain capabilities, you're going to see exactly what's on that smart list. Whereas if you create a segmentation, within that segmentation, you're going to get 100% of your database in one of those segments.
So Justin, thanks a lot for joining us. So today we're going to talk a lot about Marketo, or maybe we'll just go deeper into some of the attribution and related issues. So tell me your boldest Marketo experiment that you'd ever executed.
The boldest one that I've ever done, I would say, is I created a red light, green light scenario that led users down a path depending on which the whole point of the process was to determine which business they wanted to take advantage of that they were offering, right? Which product, but we needed to find out which kind they needed. So it was a fact-finding exercise. And so what I did was said, first one, do you want to learn about these products? If you want to, click the red light. If you don't want to, green light or yellow light. And depending on their choices, I would lead them down the next path of the question, until we got to the end where we said, okay, here's what we can offer you. Why don't you fill out this form and we'll get your information, et cetera, et cetera. And it seemed to work out pretty well because I found that using or giving users or giving leads the ability to choose their own path, as it were, really is helpful in terms of letting them have more control over their own destiny instead of just throwing information at them and sort of confusing them, as it were.
Okay. So just for the audience who are new to this, to the automation domain, so when does Marketo enters any company's life cycle? At what stage are they in? Once they start considering that, okay, this is the right time to get into the Marketo.
Marketo is at the very front of the cycle. Our goal is to get leads in and convert them to qualified leads, pass them on to sales to get sales accepted leads. Right. So, I mean, we're going the whole MQL, MAL, SQL, SAL route. Our goal is to get them in, get cold leads in, warm leads, whatever you might call them, and nurture them to where they know or they're familiar with what they want to purchase, how they want to move forward down that path. So we're at the very front of the cycle, very beginning of their journey, and we nurture them along the way to get them where they want to go.
Okay, and in terms of Marketo versus HubSpot, which features would you sort of like say are the standouts on the Marketo side of things?
Probably the reporting, to be completely honest with you. I really enjoy the Marketo reporting, specifically the revenue cycle reporting, the Revenue Explorer reporting. The Revenue Explorer reporting, what it is basically a live pivot table with all your marketing data within the Marketo system. You can drag and drop and figure out which numbers you really want to focus on, how they affect each other, which numbers are turning the dial, so to speak.
Okay, and in terms of, so let's just get deeper into this evaluation of marketing campaigns. Which attribution models do you use? And okay, just go ahead. Just which attribution models are your favorite and you use?
Sure. I tend to go with first touch attribution every time. Like I said, we're at the beginning of the cycle. So by using first touch, I mean, for example, if somebody came from a certain advertisement, we want to give credit to that advertisement, right? Because they're the ones that got in the door. They can browse around on our website for a while, maybe fill out a form here, fill out a form here. But what got them to our website? That's what I want to know. That's where I want to see what's moving the dial.
And in terms of multi-channel campaigns, so does this still hold?
I would assume so, simply because again, our goal is to get them in the door, and so whatever gets them in the door first. So on the multi-channel campaign, multi-channel, omni-channel, however you want to describe it, whatever gets them in the door first is the one that I want to give credit to.
Oh, okay, and so you mentioned revenue lifecycle modeler. There are quite a few experts out there who are not so in favor of it. And what could be the reason that they don't like this RCMs? And what are the alternatives?
Well, I'll go to the alternatives in a second. I think just the fact that with the Revenue Cycle Explorer, you are restricted in terms of the data that you are able to manipulate. You have to choose the type of report that you're looking at first, whether it's an email report, a lead report, a program performance report, etc. By choosing that, the type of report will restrict you to the number of values that you can search by and you can manipulate. For that reason, if you want to get more granular in your analysis, I would download the data into a program like Excel, and then I would be able to put it into a pivot table myself and manipulate the data more freely, I guess you could say.
Okay, and then in terms of other tools, is your favorite go-to is the Excel one, right?
Yeah. I haven't found a need to get any bigger than Excel. I mean, Excel can handle the vast majority of data analysis that you're doing with specifically Marketo data.
Okay, if somebody is implementing a lead lifecycle model for the very first time, what advice would you give?
Follow the documentation. First and foremost, there's a ton of Marketo documentation out there. A lot of users are happy to share their knowledge. So I would really just follow what other people have done, follow the specific documentation. On top of that, keep it simple. Keep it simple until you see what your leads are doing. You don't want to get too granular because you may be missing the point on what your leads are doing. You may be missing the actions of what your leads are doing and how they're acting to certain content, certain campaigns you might be delivering. So keep it simple. Find out where they're actually making their decisions, and then you can adjust from there once you learn the actual, the journey of your specific leads.
Okay, and obviously, just to continue that, how do you sort of incorporate this demographic and those other behavioral factors for implementing lead scoring? So can you please, are there any advices around that?
Yeah, I would say that you want to pay attention to demographic scoring first and foremost. And the reason for that is we've all been in Marketo and we've all seen that you'll get people like students searching, filling out your forms. You'll get people like assistants viewing your webinars and whatnot. These aren't the people that make the decisions. But if you're scoring them the same way, then you're going to be sending all these irrelevant leads off to sales, and you don't want to do that. So you need to pay attention to demographics first and foremost. For example, your job titles. If you have, you want to pay attention to your decision-making job titles, your C-level executives, for example. On top of that, you want to take your C-level executives and don't restrict them just by CEO, just by CFO, just by CMO. You want to do something like create job titles and job functions so that you can put all your C-level executives in the same job function. And with that job function, you can then score them all in that associated manner, so that you're not, so that you don't have 83 different job titles for a specific score. Your scores can get out of hand if you try to go specifically by job titles. I hope that last part makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So in terms of dashboard, so are you using Marketo's reporting capabilities, or are you taking it outside and visualize it to somewhere else?
For dashboards, I like the real-time reporting of the Marketo dashboards. So I will definitely try to use the Marketo dashboards using the real-time reporting. That said, what I will tend to do, because there often can be issues with login credentials, some reports you need to be able to log in, some you don't. So I will actually create a separate website or landing page, whatever it might be, and place the reports on that so that anybody can access the data at any time on an external website rather than on the internal Marketo dashboard.
Okay, that's great. And in terms of data, the purity of data and the data cleansing and how the data is stored in Marketo, what are some of the tips that you have?
It's yeah. This is a fun one. First of all, you want to be able to normalize all your data, right? You don't want to have your states and full names, as well as state abbreviations, or country, whatever it might be. Secondly, you want to be able to enrich your data. So you want to connect to LeadMD, ZoomInfo, Discover.org, whatever it might be, and to enrich your data so that everything gets standardized and everything gets filled in the proper context. The main thing that I found with data that really helps the data is the segmentations. The segmentations are some of the most powerful things in Marketo that you can use. And the reason being is that segmentations break down your entire database. If you create a smart list with certain fields and certain capabilities, you're going to see exactly what's on that smart list. Whereas if you create a segmentation, within that segmentation, you're going to get 100% of your database in one of those segments. So you can have 5 different segments and then have your 6th segment be, your extras bucket. Keep an eye on your extras bucket. See who's landing there. See who's ending up there, so that you don't miss any leads, and you can, apply initiatives like no lead left behind. Okay,
and so a generic question: is email still working?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Email is by far the biggest trend getter in incoming leads, in lead generation.
So any playbook that you want to share with the audience which worked like a magic and maybe in a certain context will help the users to also just replicate?
In terms of playbook,
yeah.
Can you explain that a little bit more?
Like, okay, this was the campaign, and this email was sent after this time. This was done, and this was done, and this happened. Things like of that nature.
I have always found the engagement programs to be first and foremost one of the most important things. If you're having regular touch points with your leads, that's what you need to pay attention to. You want to make sure that they're all not standardized. You don't want to make them boring, but you want to make sure that when that email arrives in their inbox, your lead knows what it is. They might not open the first one. They might not open the second one. They might not even open the third one. But maybe by the 4th one that comes around, they're like, hey, I'm always getting these emails. Let me see what these are all about. And so you really need to build out good, sustainable, bulky engagement programs and have those always be running on new leads, new lead capture, et cetera. That is, I think, is your first and foremost priority when setting up your Marketo instance.
And in terms of cadence, where at what frequency number that you see, okay, now the customer gets engaged? Is there a magic number to it?
There's really not a magic number. I mean, sometimes leads will like I was just explaining about engagement programs. They might not open the first one or the second email. Sometimes it's a subject line that will make them open up a certain email, and that will make them get involved. Maybe it's the topic of the email that will make them get involved. Maybe if a manager is looking to implement a specific tool, and that's why they're part of your database, they will reach out immediately. That's why you need to be able to be agile and apply agile methodology. If you have a lead that fills out a form, watches a webinar, downloads an ebook, views a report, and spends an hour on your webpage, you want to immediately get that person over sales, because you're pretty sure that person is hot and heavy to get going on the buying cycle. That said, there's also some leads that you need to take your time with, and that's the reason for engagement programs, to keep yourself in front of that lead, to keep yourself regularly in front of that lead, so that they don't lose contact and they go off and choose somebody else.
Okay, and so obviously all the inbox are nowadays crowded with emails. So how do you make your Marketo emails stand out?
Well, there's a couple of different options you can take. First of all, like I mentioned, the subject line. The subject line, I think, is obviously going to be the most important thing. And the way I look at it is, you want to make it personalized. If you can put their name in the subject line, that always helps. And then offer a value add in that subject line. Hey, Bob, do you know what your widget is worth? Hey, Jane, have you been looking at purchasing X, Y, and Z product? Hey, James, here's from 5 reasons you should look at purchasing our product. Give them a reason in the subject line to open your email. I've worked at places that will just say, hey, monthly newsletter in the subject line. Do people really want to open that up? Do people really want to read that? Not necessarily. So you need to do that. Another tact you can take is vary your send times. We in the marketing community like to do our normal 8 to 10 a.m. send times on every single email, right? Which is exactly when everybody is busy at work doing their own thing. So I've experimented, and I've actually found some of my best open rates come from emails that I send around dinner time, 6, 7, 8 p.m. That's when people are home, sitting in their couch, watching TV, playing on their phone, and they say, oh, hey, now I have time to open this email because I'm not working at this point. So then they'll start checking their emails. So that's another thing you can do. It's all about variation, and don't forget about A/B testing as well. You want to see what test your send times, test your subject lines, and see what works best.
And in terms of content, is there any evergreen content pieces that you feel like, okay, this kind of content really works and this doesn't?
I would say to make sure that you have various options of content within your emails. You want to start with your subject line. You want to make sure that once they open the email, that is prominent front and center. But along with that, you want to have maybe a snippet at the bottom saying, hey, are you interested in more products like this? Click here. You want to make the email engaging to where they're not just being thrown an email they're not seeing what you want them to see. They're taking a little bit more control and seeing what they want to see.
Okay. And so what are your favorite KPIs? How do you keep track, of on any campaign that is working, and on a life cycle of the campaigns that you're running for a client?
Open and click rate are obviously going to be your gold standards of metrics. Your open rate is your first and foremost one, right? If you can get them to open the email, then you've already got half the job done. Now, that said, you need to pay attention to bots as well, because you're going to need to let a bot opens, bot clicks. So at that point, then you need to look to conversions, right? And you can define whatever that conversion might be, whether it's filling out a form, whether it's viewing a webinar, whether it's clicking through to the website. So you want to be able to be sure to set your conversions in the right way, so that you can so that you can view the actual metrics of what's going on and what real people are doing, not bot clicks and bot opens.
Okay. So just on a personal note, how do you get into Marketo? What was your journey like?
I actually discovered it in marketing automation a long time ago, and I was playing around with a couple different programs like Constant Contact, and I discovered a smaller program called Contactually, which is now defunct, and that really opened my mind into the marketing automation space, and it blew my mind, the capabilities of marketing automation. At this point, Marketo was by far the gold standard of marketing automation. And I knew I needed to take that enterprise. And so what I did was I just started applying to roles and seeing if there's a way I could get in to using Marketo. And lo and behold, I was lucky enough to land a job to where I got to use Marketo, train on Marketo, learn Marketo, and it's been a decade since. And I don't regret my decision at all. I still absolutely love marketing automation and the capabilities and power of marketing automation in general, but specifically Marketo.
So so in terms of competition, so there's HubSpot that's catching up. And they are obviously the choice for anybody who are the first to this platform for automation. So how do you foresee them versus Marketo, and maybe any other tool which are gaining traction?
Yeah, I've definitely seen the numbers of adoption, and HubSpot is absolutely doing great things. Personally, I've never been in a position to use HubSpot. I learned a long time ago, if you're going to do something, focus on one and do it well. For that reason, I started with Marketo. I'm loyal to Marketo, and I'm a Marketo expert. The level of knowledge I have within the Marketo space is extensive. Could I learn HubSpot or Pardo or any other program? Of course, because it's marketing automation. They all do relatively the same thing. They just have different menus and different field names and whatnot that you're going to need to get used to. But again, for me, I can't necessarily comment on other platforms because Marketo has been my one and only go-to that I've done for my entire career.
Okay, and in terms of from product features that you really would want Marketo to have, and those are still not there, what are those 3 features that you really want to be with you?
I already mentioned it. Bot control. I want better visibility into the bots. There's some capabilities that Marketo offers, and there's certain smart campaigns that you can set up to control those as well. But I would really like a little bit more control into the bots. Secondly is the data integration. I would like to see, I would like better data integration with Marketo data. You're going to get data that's on a different time frame, that's in different metrics, that's in different, I don't even know, just the different kinds of data that you can get based on a lead, demographic, behavioral data. You're going to get it in different ways to form it. Take, for example, the Revenue Explorer report. Like I mentioned earlier, you have to choose what kind of report you want to look at to know what kind of data you can manipulate. I want all the data in there, all the data at all the time. And that depends on whether it's part of a smart campaign, whether it's part of a lead field, or whether it's one of the tags. Depending on the type of how the data is connected to Marketo depends on how you can manipulate that data. I would like a little bit more of a holistic view on the data. And the third, I think I'll just stay with it too, to be honest with you.
Okay, so in terms of you mentioned the pain point of bots and how to detect those and how to get past those and all of that. So what techniques are you using for that?
What I usually do is I'll set up a smart campaign. Bots will act like bots. You send them an email, they'll open it immediately. right? Because that's what bots do. They'll open and scan the email immediately, scan the images, download the images, whatever it might be. So I want to see if the lead opens it twice. I want to see if the lead opens it an hour after sending, even 5 minutes after sending. Things like that will really start to differentiate. I mean, if you put in a wait step of 5 minutes before open time, the majority of people aren't going to get to an email, even 1 minute or 2 minutes, to be honest with you. The majority of leads aren't going to be able to get to the email that quickly, whereas a bot can, because they're scanning it before it even arrives in your inbox, right? If you're sending it through the CMS or the ISP of the incoming company, if you're sending it to their work address, it's going through all those scans before it even arrives in their inbox. That's when it's going to get scanned by the bots, and it'll register as an open in Marketo. So if you set up your smart campaign to give you a wait step of 1 minute or 2 minutes, then you can start to see better numbers on real human interaction rather than the just bot scans.
Okay, that's awesome. So Justin, I think this has been amazing. I've actually gone through all of it. Have I missed anything? If you want to add something to it?
I know when I was preparing for this, there was a couple questions about what are some of my favorite Marketo tips and tricks, and so if I could, I'd like to offer two.
Go ahead. Your favorite tips and tricks for the Marketo. Yeah.
I would say the first one is your notifications. Check your notifications. Make sure that you're subscribed to your notifications. They can be some of the most powerful tools to making sure that you know what's going on with your instance at all times, whether your campaigns are failing, whether their sync is failing, whether a campaign is shut down, et cetera, et cetera. Not only that, but Marketo will start to shut off your campaigns after a certain time period. This will, by subscribing to notifications, it will also give you warnings about when those campaigns are going to be shut down, so you can go in and restart them, create a new smart campaign, whatever it might be. Point being, if you're on top of your notifications, you will know what's happening before that marketing manager, that content manager comes to you and says, "Hey, why is this happening?" You'll already have the answer because you're assigned to your notifications. Subscribe to your notifications. So you see that little bell icon on the top, and you'll have a 99 plus because you'll have tons of notifications going on up there. If you're the Marketo guy, as it were, you really need to be on top of those to make sure that you're doing everything you can. Second, take advantage of the request campaign feature. The request campaign feature really gives you a powerful if-then ability within your entire Marketo instance. You can basically lead a campaign down any road you want to go by using the request campaign feature, because it's not a trigger, it's not a batch, it's only when this specific action happens on this trigger, right? It's only when this specific action happens on this batch. For example, your normalization campaigns. When a lead syncs with your Marketo instance and they start filling out all the information, when they first fill out the form or however you get them ported in, maybe they're a scan from a trade show, their state or country might come out as United States of America. You need to change them to USA. That normalization isn't going to happen until further down in the process. But if you're already syncing to your CRM before that normalization happens, now you're going to have mismatched information between your CRM and your Marketo instance. By using the request campaign feature, putting that at the end, putting the sync to CRM at the end of this step, ensures that all the normalization will happen ahead of time. And then when all that data normalization has happened and it's ready to sync, then you can say, okay, now you can sync to the CRM by requesting the sync to SFDC feature, or if that's your CRM or whatever your CRM might be. So if I had two tips, so those would be my two tips. My two hot Marketo tips for the day.
Okay, that's awesome. So have you used the new Marketo chatbot? So is it better versus other options that are out there?
I have not. I know that I've worked with Drift and whatnot and other various chatbots. That tends to be more of a website, a web integration. I'm definitely interested in learning more about the chatbots though, and taking advantage of more of the AI features that are offered as well.
Okay. And there was another thing that you wanted to add, or is that it?
No, I think that's it. I think those are my thoughts.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So if somebody has to learn and be awesome at Marketo, where should they go? What should they read, and who should they follow?
Marketo community is a very powerful tool. In terms of if you go to Marketo, they have a job listings, a companies that use Marketo on the Marketo website, and you can browse available jobs that from companies that offer Marketo directly off the Marketo website. In addition, by going through the community, people are extremely helpful to the community. People are so happy to help on the community. I've really found it a very powerful tool to be able to use the Marketo community. If you have any questions, if you have any issues that you need, reach out. People are always chipping in and answering questions, helping you out. Doing whatever they can, because everybody wants Marketo to succeed, right? And especially now that it's part of Adobe, I don't see that stopping anytime soon. So I would say those are my two suggestions.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay, so again, Justin, it was great talking to you. So again, I appreciate the effort that you prepared for it and you presented it really well. So I mean, thanks a lot.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Same here. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Okay. See ya.